What about Michigan? Michigan season. This was. I think Michigan, given that they lost Isaiah Livers, they overachieved. They didn't. I mean, like, it sucks to lose in the Elite Eight to an 11 seed.
Yeah,
I think once you get to that point, and also you lose by 2 like this, I don't think any Michigan fans like. Yeah, I'm fine with this. I think they're upset. They should be upset. But big picture, hell of a season. I think even going into the tournament. We both had Florida State beating Michigan just because we thought missing Livers would hurt. They came together. Johns was awesome for them. I think Michigan, hold your head up high. It was fine. They don't want to hear that right now. But,
I know. They don't want to hear that. But in general, Michigan, last year at the Battle for Atlantis, they kind of put the world on notice. Or Juwan Howard, in my opinion, put the basketball world on notice to say, you thought it was funny that I was coming here and I don't know college basketball. Well, guess what? I just beat the S out of North Carolina. You know what I mean? And I'm going to keep running through all these teams, and I'm going to make this happen.
And Gonzaga.
And in general, then we all were like, oh, Michigan. Okay. This year we go into the season. You see Michigan, you see the transfers, you see a Shaundi Brown, you see a Mike Smith. You say, oh, that's interesting, but I don't necessarily see it. They have overachieved the entire season, so much so that I wanted to push back and say they're not as good as I thought they were. Hunter Dickinson's not as good as I thought he would be, or whatever it may be. But regardless, they were able to punch back. I think they held it down for the Big Ten in general as far as conference pride in this tournament. They needed to make the Elite Eight at least, and they have the Livers card. We're not even 100%, and we should have made the Final Four.
Right.
That's a lot of things.
I do feel like they overachieved this year because Michigan felt like all season. I don't say this as a slight. I mean this in a positive light. That it felt like on an individual level they had a bunch of B+ guys. Maybe Wagner, with his length and his defensive prowess, could give you some A-A's at times. That was like their talent. Even Dickinson, as great as he was, I mean, we saw tonight, like the guy he goes to his left hand. He's basically, if he doesn't establish post position, he's limited, and he's going to be a great player someday. He's just not there. Like he's
still a freshman.
Some of the stats he was putting up were just, he rolls to the basket, catches it, dunks on people, which is obviously great. But on an individual level, Michigan was a lot of B+ guys that they put together. They played well together, but they didn't really have playmakers. Like I think that's ultimately what doomed them tonight. Is they just didn't have. They don't have guys that you can just throw the ball to. Like Eli Brooks, every so often, Shaundi Brown but not really. You know what I mean? Like they can consistently. I don't know. I don't know.
That is the kid
in that regard. I think in a big picture view, you're like you look at that roster and it's not a bad. Like they have players, but they didn't have like. Juwan Howard, what does this say? Juwan Howard was playing in the NBA just 8 years ago. He's the best young coach in the game. I mean, is he still your coach of the year?
Yeah, I think he is. Because I think at the end of the day, like I just laid out, Michigan overachieved for me. I think there were, you could argue, in my opinion, Illinois at the end of the year was the best team in the Big Ten. And in fact, I thought that they were so good, they were the best team to match up with Gonzaga. And I still don't, my opinion hasn't changed regardless of what Cameron Krutwig did in one game. I give him his kudos. It was great. But still, Illinois is the best team in the Big Ten. Regular season, Michigan, in my opinion, was the best team in the Big Ten. So, Juwan Howard earned my respect the way he was able to build that program in the quote-unquote best conference. So I'll give him the tip of the cap. But I still have a lot of questions, like especially in-game management. You and I watched the Turgeon game in the Big Ten tournament. I'm not saying anything other than if I am a Michigan fan, I'm just like, let's get better. Let's keep the train going. We're not set. We're not good. We're not content, and it'll be okay.
It's a small sample size. Like some things haven't worked out. Like the end of the Ohio State game where he just kind of didn't call timeout and let Mike Smith throw up some junk, and they lost. That was not a great look.
We still have beeline guys in the program, right? I mean, we still have to see, like Isaiah Livers is a beeline guy. So it's like I still want to see what Juwan's vision fully formed looks like. You know what I mean? So that's why I kind of reserve my judgment on him right now, because I still don't know exactly what the Juwan Howard full picture experience looks like. But so far, it's been great. I mean, how could you complain with this? He's been great so far.
Yeah, he didn't know Wagner had 4 fouls against Ohio State.
Yeah, that was bad.
I hated that play call at the end because it did look like that's what he told him to do. He told Mike Smith to pull up. And I love it in the sense
of Campbell. Yeah, if you got the look,
I love it in the sense of if Mike Smith makes that, it's stones on everyone involved, and it's like, look at the balls on Juwan Howard and Mike Smith that they would call. But
if he does hit that three, like the flip side of this is we're all like Juwan Howard is the ballsiest coach in America.
That's Dwayne Washington vibes, where it's like I never considered this not going in. It never crossed my mind that shot might not go in, and
now I sit here without going in confused.
How did that happen?
Wait, or Roberts won?
How did that happen?
Hey there, thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.